Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to set up IncoPOS for a warehouse. We're going to create a new database and let's say I'm going to pick a name like warehouse. You can pick whatever you want and we'll select blank database, then create. We'll see a database assistant here, and with a few steps here we can just select the business type. Then the country localization, I'll choose other, but if you see your country in the list, you can select it here. Then name for the workstation. Again, this is the name that's used to save the settings in the database. So later on, if you want to restore that database from the cloud, for example, you can choose this workstation and you'll get the same settings back. Here, how do you want to handle the taxes? These are the defaults. By default, warehouses usually have their prices set up without VAT because they're selling to other businesses, and this is more convenient for them. But if you want, you can choose with VAT too. Are you VAT registered? Usually warehouses are VAT registered and they use VAT. This is the default rate that we set up. You can change it here depending on your country. And this is the most important part. Now, what you're going to see here are the setup cards, and these setup cards are for warehouse. And for example, in locations, you can choose multiple stores or warehouses, and you can choose their names. By default, you have a single one, and it's named warehouse, but if you want, you can choose more than one. What does that mean? It means that you can have separate locations, even inside a physical warehouse, where you can have different inventory tracking. So let's say you have one warehouse split in 2 or 3 parts, and one is only for certain type of items. Let's say they're incoming items, or they're for long storage, or others are for being shipped out and being prepared there. So if you have multiple locations defined here, you can have transfer operations that can move the availability from one location to the other, and this way you can have exact tracking of the items in each of those locations. But in most cases you will need just one, so I'll leave it at let's say I'll leave 2 just to show you the transfer operation, and click save. This card disappeared. If you have items, you can import them from a CSV file from here. I don't have such a file, so I'll just close that card from here. Users, it's usually a good idea to have a few users defined, so you have some way to track who did what. Who, for example, did the purchase operation, who sold something. You can track the turnover by the different users that you have in the company and in the database, and you have more granular reports after that. It's up to you. By default, you have one default user that's without a password and can do everything in the system. But if you want, you can add users here, and we'll add the first user. The first user is always at access level owner. We'll delete the password, save it, and here we have it. We can have another one. The second one can have any access level, and I'll name it operator. Again, I'll delete the password and I'll save it. And here we have the company information. This company information can be entered here And the idea is that this information is printed on the invoices and the big A4 documents that you're printing. It's going to help you in case you want to give something to the client, and then this information is good to be accurate. I'll just enter something here, and I cannot use that because we need to enter the database in IncoCloud, but then you can have the information from IncoCloud about the companies, and they can be populated automatically. So I'll just save it like this. And the other thing is startup screen. The startup screen is the first screen that you're gonna see. Right now this is blank screen, but usually probably you have some sales screen or some dashboard if you want to see how the sales are doing. It really depends on what you're going to use this workstation for. So here you can choose any of the other screens that you want. For example, let's put sell. And what that means is after I log out, now I have the option to choose from one of those two users that we created. If I choose operator, you can see that some of the buttons here are disabled. This is because by default, the operator has more limited permissions. And what you can see here is that I have the sales screen as I selected open by default. So when the operator gets in that particular workstation, he gets this screen. So what are the most important things for the warehouses? I'll switch quickly to the owner, so I have full access and we'll see all the operations. The sale, of course, is important for every business. Here you can just select the location because we have to choose which one you want to use. You can choose some item. I have some default item here from the database, but I can choose to create a new one. I'll add tomatoes, for example, or not tomato. Let's say cheese. And I'll just save it. I didn't put any prices here, but you can do that in a few ways. First, from this cell, you can enter the quantity that you want to sell, and you can enter the price here too. But this price will be only the price that we're going to use for this sale. So for example, if I enter 10, and this of course is the price without VAT, we add VAT and we finish it. We can print a stock receipt if you want. I'll just show you how it looks. This is the company information for us and for whoever we sell that to. Next time we get in, you can see that the quantity got decreased, but the sale price is not. So the purchase operation can actually set this up. This is one way to do it. We can choose the location. We can choose, let me make this a little bit bigger, cheese, and we can say that we get 100, it's pieces, but we can change the measurement unit to kilograms or whatever you want. And let's say for simplicity, we purchase it on 5 and we sell it on 8 or 10. Now you see the amount. This is the amount we're going to pay for that item. We save it, and you can choose to directly save it as a paid operation, or you can choose not to pay it now. For now, we're going to save it. This is a stock receipt for the purchase. Again, we'll get that document. Here, the partner here is available just like in the sale, but here this is the company we're buying from, and this is the one we're selling to. So generally these should be different. I'm just using the default partner right now just for simplicity. And what happened here is, now if I remove that item and I go here and choose it, you can see that it has a purchase price and a sale price. So when I enter it, the price becomes by default not 0 but 10. This is because I already entered the price. Now, what else we have? We have additional properties, and here there are a few things that may be interesting and useful. One thing is the current availability, and this can show you how much actually is available of that item in another column here. So you can see when you're trying to sell something, how much you have actually in stock. If I change the warehouse here, it's going to show you that here we have 0 because we didn't do a purchase in warehouse 2. We just did on warehouse 1. If I switch it back, it refreshes and it shows you what you have here. This is something that probably going to be useful for you. Also, we have a few other operations that are useful too. One is transfer, which I told you can move items from one warehouse to another. And if I choose the same item and say like 11, I'm going to move from one warehouse to another, and I save it. I can print again a document for this, and what's going to happen is in the second warehouse we're going to have more items. Right now you can see that the total availability here is 90, but this is for all locations. This is in the items list. If you click here, you can select a warehouse, and you can see that in the first warehouse we have 79. And if we click here and select warehouse 2, you see that we have 11. This is because we just transferred 11 here. So now we can go and sell from warehouse 2, make a new sale, and you can see that the available are 11, and I can sell some amount. If I try to sell more, this will indicate that we don't have that much. And if we try to sell it, here we can, because by default we're not being stopped by the system, but there's an option that can actually prevent you from doing that. It really depends on the way your business works. This option, work with negative availability, it's in the operations tab, and if we disable it, next time we try to do something, it's going to stop us. Right now we cannot disable it because cheese has a negative availability in warehouse 2 because we sold more than this. So we cannot save it right now. What we can do is we can alter the sale, or I can delete it that I did, and this will return the availability back to the warehouse 2. See, these are the two sales we did. One is with warehouse 2. I can show a preview here. We sold 12, and I can press annul, and it got removed. Now the availability is back, and if I go to warehouse 2, you can see that we have 11. This is in the items list, your fastest way to see the current availability. Now I can change that setting if I want, and it's going to be saved. And now if I try to save a sale with more than the available quantity, you see this column became red too, and it's, if we go here, you'll see that the explanation, the availability of this item is insufficient. If I try to save, we're going to get this, and we cannot save it. So this is a protection in case your business relies on that you never have a negative availability. Other operations that are useful are waste, return, purchase return. All of these lets you adjust the availability depending on what happens with the items. Waste pretty much looks the same like the other operations. What it does is it lets you throw away some items because they're broken or something. You have to reduce the availability, so you can choose some amount of them and you can remove them, and you get a document for this in the end that you can print or give to somebody, to accounting, for example. Write-off is pretty much similar to this, but you can use it to, again, remove some of the availability. But usually this is an operation that uses that availability for your own purposes. For example, if you're a warehouse and you have some detergents and you want to use them to clean the floors and you have to remove them from the availability, you can use that operation. Return lets you choose a cell and automatically populates everything from that cell and lets you return the availability back. So we get it back in the warehouse. And this is when a client wants to return some of the items, all of it or some of it, you can edit the quantity here. Or you can, if you have multiple items, you can remove whatever is not returned. Another thing is the purchase return, which is similar, but this is for purchases. You have a purchase, you got some delivery, but you want to return some of it back to the vendor. Again, you enter the partner, location, where you're going to get it from, the items that you want to return, and then you save the operation, and this actually reduces your availability too. So the rest is issuing invoices. Invoices are issued connected to a cell. So you select the cell and then you add the additional information that's needed for the invoice. Invoices can be issued automatically after a sale. There's an option for that you can enable if you want. It really depends on your business. Some businesses make sales, and in the end of the month, they issue one invoice for all the sales during the month. Some businesses issue invoices directly at the moment when they create a sale. So here you have the main fields for the sale. You have the number, recipient. These are additional piece of information that you're going to print on the invoice. And you can have a recipient here. I'll just enter something just to show you how it gets displayed on the document. Here you have that information here. Let me zoom a little bit. Here you can see here, and pretty much the style of the document is similar to the rest. You can edit it, of course, using the document editor. These are the most important parts for the warehouses. Of course, there are many other screens like the cash book that can give you an information of how the payments are going, how much money you have getting in, getting out for a given period of time, and what's the balance. You have the sales book, which gives you information about only the sales and what are the payments, what are the details for each sale. You can take a look at them and see each one of them and see what will fit your business best. Of course, you have also additional operations like the offers, sales order, performer invoices. These are all things that you may want to use. Warranty card, especially if you're selling some electronic equipment and you want to issue a warranty card, you can use it too to select a cell and then issue the warranty card for it. Then the sales order is something that usually you create before a sale. You can create also offer or a performer invoice. You choose your preferred way to do it. Sales order is usually when you're sure that this is going to be a sale, and you just make that order. Then somebody in the warehouse completes that order and finishes it with a sale and an invoice. We have a new functionality here that if you have a sales order but you're creating from it, you're transforming it into a sale, and you don't actually fulfill the whole sales order, you can create automatically an additional sales order with the items that are not fulfilled. So for example, if you want to sell some item, for example, cheese, you want to sell cheese, but you want to sell 100 pieces in this case, and you want to save it. We're not going to print anything. Then I can transform that sales order from this into a sale. And now it's going to show me that I don't have 100 pieces, I have 79. When I enter 79 or 70, so I have something left, I can save it, and we're going to get this. The sale doesn't cover the full ordered quantity. You want to generate another sales order. If I press yes, then I complete the operation. And then if we check back here, even if in the transformation, you see that we have automatically created another one for the remaining quantity. The order was for 100, I sold 70, and the remaining is 30. This is something that is useful for warehouses, and they can quickly fulfill orders that are not available at full. What else? We have credit and debit notes. These are usually the financial documents that you want to issue if you have a sale with invoice and you want to return some of that amount. You cannot just do a return, you have to create a credit note. If you want to add more, then you get a debit note. And of course, all of these operations that we have and we have created so far, we can print them again from this menu, from Edit Reprint Documents. We can go here and you can see the red ones are with invoice. If I double click, I'll get that document. So if you forgot to print something, you can print it again. If you lost the document, it's always in the system and you can print it again. Another menu is the edit document section, which is identical, but it does serve a different purpose. Here you can edit a cell. For example, if you made a mistake and you want to correct it, you can do it from here. And the last part is the reports. Actually, here you can see what sales are done, and you can filter by different criteria. And this is where, for example, the user comes in. And if you have different users, you can filter by each user and you can see how each of them are performing. If I press OK, I'll just get all the information with all the details about the sale. And if you want to remove some of that data, you can go here to filter. You see that filter. For example, we have the partner group, which is not important for us. I can just remove it with that checkbox. Location group, also we haven't populated it, and you can see how these columns disappear. Look at user group, and now I'll check it here and it disappears. You can change the filters from this section and it will automatically filter everything here. For example, quantity, I can say I want just more than 50 and refresh, and everything refreshed here. So this is the most important part, more probably, because for the managers, they want to actually see what happens. You don't want to just enter information in the system. You want to get back information when you need it, so you can get actionable data and see how actually things are performing. These were the most important things that you need if you run a warehouse, and this is the fastest way to set it up in just a few minutes. You can start work, you can import your partners, items, everything from the menu, and you can get going in just a few minutes. Thank you all for the attention. If you haven't subscribed for the channel, please do. If you like the video, press like and press the bell button if you want to get notified for the next video. Thank you.